Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jai Shri Krishna Nityananda, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikante Radhakante Namostute Tapt Kanchan Gorangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Che Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. बोलो श्री राधे गोलोकानंद भगवान की जय। बोलो श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा निशा
हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा रीना जी
हरे कृष्णा भैया हरे कृष्णा
ऑलराइट। तो कल हम लोग थर्ड श्लोक पढ़ रहे थे ऑफ अध्याय 15 या एंड दिस इज अबाउट महाराज किंग चित्रकेतु या। तो जैसा कि हम लोग पढ़ रहे थे, किंग चित्रकेतु यूज्ड टू रूल द होल यूनिवर्स, राइट? ही हैड मिलियंस ऑफ वाइव्स बट ही हैड नो सन, and just because he had no son, everything looked futile to him, and he really wanted to have a son, right? So that somebody can take care of his kingdom and also take care of the Pitradev and so on and so forth. And so once when Aṅgirā Muni was coming to his palace, he asked Aṅgirā Muni to give him a son. And again, Aṅgirā Muni said, okay, he did the yajna and he gave to the eldest queen and all that. And he said, you will have a son, and that's going to give you both happiness and a sorrow. Yeah. So he got the happiness earlier, and then, as we know, right, the other queens gave a poison to him, and then there was a big sorrow. And Citraketu, King Citraketu, is now lamenting, right? He is so much full of sorrow, and he is lamenting, seeing that Aṅgirā Muni and Nārada Muni, right? Rishi Nārada and Aṅgirā Rishi, they have come to console Citraketu, yeah, King Citraketu, and that's what we are reading right now. And all this is related to the story of why did Vritāsura, even being a demon, could go back to Godhead. It's like in one of millions and millions, somebody, after going through Karma Yoga and the Bhakti Yoga, can go back to Godhead, right, to Lord Shri Krishna. But Vritāsura could go there, and that's what Parikshit Maharaj wanted to know from Sukadeva Goswami Ji. So that's where we are reading about King Citraketu. So we read, O king, as small particles of sand sometimes come together and are sometimes separated due to the force of the waves, the living entities who have accepted material bodies sometimes come together and are sometimes separated by the force of time. So who is speaking this?
Aṅgirā Muni.
Right, yeah. Aṅgirā Muni is telling this to Citraketu, yeah, King Citraketu. Yeah, and what he's saying is Sanyujyante, sometimes they come together, the materialistic bodies, right? All of us have materialistic bodies, right? And we get into all these relationships and everything else. So that happens sometimes. Sometimes Viyujyante, yeah, sometimes we get separated. Everything based on Kalena Dehina. Kal is the time, right? Separated by the force of time. So it's a nice purport. So let's read this. Ajay? Sure.
The misunderstanding of the conditioned soul is the bodily conception of life. The body is material, but within the body is the soul. This is a spiritual understanding. Unfortunately, one who is in ignorance under the spell of material illusion accepts the body to be self. He cannot understand that the body is matter. Like small particles of sand, bodies come together and are separated by the force of time, and people falsely lament for unification and separation. Unless one knows that there is no question of happiness. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 2.13, this is the first instruction given by the Lord. Dahino ismeni yatha dehe kamaram yuvanam jard tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in the body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. We are not the body, we are spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings trapped in the body. Our real interest lies in understanding this simple fact. Then we can make further spiritual progress. Otherwise, if we remain in the bodily conception of life, our miserable material existence will continue forever. Political adjustments, social welfare work, medical assistance, and the other programs we have manufactured for peace and happiness will never endure. We shall have to undergo the sufferings of material life one after another. Therefore, material life is said to be dukhalayam asasvatam. It is a reservoir of miserable conditions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, a lot of important things mentioned in this paragraph, right? And one is, as we know, most people, right? We are the conditioned soul, and most people have this bodily conception of life. We all think we are this materialistic body, sthul sharir. Yeah. But the reality is that the body is material. Now, there is no dispute on that. We definitely know that the body is material. The body gets disseminated at the end, right? All that is known fact, but still, we are not willing to believe that the body is just material and asthai, right? It's temporary. The important part is within the body is the soul. Yeah. We need to have this spiritual understanding, because once we have this spiritual understanding that there is a soul inside the body, right? Then we can make further progress, is what is being mentioned here, right? Because if we don't understand that, right, then there is no question of happiness, because we are always trapped in the materialistic world. And then as in also Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita, right, Lord Shri Krishna himself has been saying, right, Kumaram Yovanam Jara, like as we move, we have seen this childhood, then youth, right, Kumar, and then the old age, Jara is the old age. Like this, yeah, the soul passes into another body at death. Yeah, Tatha Dehantar Praptir. And the self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change, right? And again, the more important part here is then we can make further spiritual progress, is that once we understand there is a sthul sharir, gross body, there is a suksham sharir, as we know, and then we know there is a soul, and then we know that soul is connected to the supreme soul, and that supreme soul, Lord Vishnu, right, is also connected to Lord Shri Krishna, right, in the Golok, and he is the Adi Anadi. Adi is the original, Anadi, there is no one before him, right? Govindam. Once we know that, we have an understanding, and then we get into the devotional process, and then we can make spiritual progress to get out of this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease, right? That's what is essentially being mentioned here. So we'll continue reading. Nisha?
यथा धानासु वै धाना भवन्ति न भवन्ति च एवं भूतानि भूतेषु चोदितानि क्षमायया. When seeds are sown in the ground, they sometimes grow into plants and sometimes do not. Sometimes the ground is not fertile and the sowing of seeds is unproductive. Similarly, sometimes a prospective father being impelled by the potency of Supreme Lord can beget a child, but sometimes conception does not take place. Therefore, one should not lament over the artificial relationship of parenthood, which is ultimately controlled by the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So Aṅgirā Muni is essentially telling King Citraketu that nothing is in our hands. It's all about Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? It's also mentioned here that, Maharaja Citraketu was actually not destined to get a son. Therefore, although he married hundreds and thousands of wives, all of them proved barren, and he could not beget even one child. When Aṅgirā Rishi came to see the king requested the great sage to enable him to have at least one son. And because of the blessings of Aṅgirā Rishi, a child was sent by the grace of Maya. But the child was not to live for long. Therefore, in the beginning, Aṅgirā Rishi told the king that he would beget a child who would cause jubilation and lamentation. Yeah? That's what we read in the earlier chapters. Right? Rinaji?
Vayam cha tvayam cha ye cheme tulyakala sharachara janma mrityor yatha paschat prang naivam dunapi bho. O king, both you and we, your advisors, wives and ministers, as well as everything moving and not moving throughout the entire cosmos at this time, are in a temporary situation. Before our birth, this situation did not exist, and after our death, it will exist no longer. Therefore, our situation now is temporary, although it is not false. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So it's a temporary situation, even though it's not false. Yeah. What is being mentioned? Let's read this. Hello, Hare Krishna, Tarun.
Hare Krishna, everyone. The Mayavadi philosophers say, Brahma Satyam Gajan Mithya. Brahman, the living being, is factual, but his present bodily situation is false. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, however, the present situation is not false but temporary. It is like a dream. A dream does not exist before one falls asleep, nor does it continue after one awakens. The period for dreaming exists only between these two, and therefore it is false in the sense that it is impermanent. Similarly, the entire material creation, including our own creation and those of others, is impermanent. We do not lament for the situation in a dream before the dream takes place or after it is over. And so during the dream or during a dream-like situation, one should not accept it as factual and lament about it. This is real knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Bhuter bhutani bhutesh sijjatyavati hanti cha atmasrishter swatantre ranpeksho api balvat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master and proprietor of everything, is certainly not interested in the temporary cosmic manifestation. Nonetheless, just as a boy at the beach creates something in which he is not interested, the Lord, keeping everything under his control, causes creation, maintenance, and annihilation. He creates by engaging a father to beget a son. He maintains by engaging a government or king to see the public's welfare, and he annihilates through agents for killing, such as snakes. The agents for creation, maintenance, and annihilation have no independent potency, but because of the spell of the illusory energy, one thinks himself the creator, maintainer, and annihilator. Yeah, but the actual creator is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It says yes, Srijati, Yavati, Anti. Yeah, creation, maintenance, and dissemination. Ajay?
Dehen dehino rajan deha dev abhijayate bija dev yatha bijam dehartha ivishashvata. As from one seed another seed is generated, O king, so from one body, the body of the father, to another body, the body of the mother, a third body is generated in the body of a son. As the elements of the material body are eternal, the living entity who appears through these material elements is also eternal. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, nice purport. So let's read this. Rajit?
From Bhagavad Gita, we understand that there are two energies, namely the superior energy and inferior energy. Inferior energy consists of the 5 gross and 3 subtle material elements. The living entity who represents the superior energy appears in different types of bodies through these elements by the manipulation or supervision of the material energy. Actually, both the material and spiritual energies, matter and spirit, exist eternally as potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The potent entity is the Supreme Person. Since the spiritual energy, the living being who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, desires to enjoy this material world, the Lord gives him a chance to accept different types of material bodies and enjoy or suffer in different material conditions. Factually, the spiritual energy, the living entity who desires to enjoy material things, is manipulated by the Supreme Lord. The so-called father and mother have nothing to do with the living entity. As a result of his own choice and karma, the living being takes different bodies through the agency of so-called fathers and mothers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. And we, of course, know which are the 5 gross and 3 subtle material elements, right? Which are the 5 gross elements?
Earth,
Mhm.
sky, water, fire, and
Vayu.
Vayu. Yeah, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Earth and sky. And then the 3 subtle material elements. Which are our 3 subtle elements of the material body? Suksham Sharir,
Man, Buddhi,
and
Ahankar.
and Ahankar. Yeah, Man, Buddhi, and Ahankar. So mind, intelligence, and self-ego. So those Sthul Sharir and the Suksham Sharir, and then we have the soul. Yeah, and the soul is eternal. So the quality of the soul is that it's Sat Chit Anand. It's always there. It cannot be destroyed at all, and it's always in the blissful stage. That's the soul. Right? Nisha.
देह देहि विभागो यम विवेक कृतः पुरा जाति व्यक्ति विभागो यम यथा वस्तुनि कल्पितः. Division of generalization and specification such as nationality and individuality are the imaginations of persons who are not advanced in knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, people who are advanced in knowledge, they know they are not the bodies. So which means all these designations, that is American and Indian, all those things doesn't really matter, right? So it says actually there are 2 energies, right? Material and spiritual. Both of them are ever existing because they are emanations from the eternal truth, the Supreme Lord. Because the individual soul, the individual living entity, has desired to act in forgetfulness of his original identity. Since time immemorial, he is accepting different positions in material bodies and being designated according to many divisions of nationality, community, society, species, and so on, right? Because we are the materialistic bodies and we are surrounded by all these Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, and all the materialistic elements, we get all the different designations, like including our name, starting with the name, right? Tarun?
Sri Shukvacha evam ashvasito raja Citraketur dvijyotibhivi Vimbrajya panina vakratam adhimlanam abhyasata. Sri Sukdev Goswami continued, thus enlightened by the instructions of Nārada and Aṅgirā, King Citraketu became hopeful with knowledge. Wiping his shriveled face with his hand, the king began to speak. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Aṅgirā Muni consoled him, and then Citraketu is now speaking. Sri Raja Vacha Ko yuvam jnana sampano mahishto che mahiyasam avadhutena veshena gudaviha samagato. King Citraketu said, you have both come here dressed like avdhuts, liberated persons, just to cover your identities. But I see that all men, out of all men, you are the most elevated in awareness. You know everything as it is. Therefore, you are the greatest of all great personalities. Right? So here, Citraketu is telling Aṅgirā Muni and Nārada Muni because he is not recognizing them. Right? They just came like avdutas. They are not being seen as Aṅgirā Muni and Nārada Muni. He doesn't know that yet. But he knows they are the great personalities. So he's just saying that you know everything. And Ajay?
Charantri Havano Kamam Brahma Bhagavat Priya Madrisha Gram Buddhinam Bodhanmut Lingana. Brahmans who are exalted to the position of Vaishnavas are the most dear servants of Krishna, sometimes dressed like madmen, just to benefit materialists like us who are always attached to sense gratification, and just to dissipate our ignorance. These Vaishnavas wander on the surface of the globe according to their desire. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The Vaishnavas, they can go anywhere and just to help out the materialistic bodies like us. Isha?
Kumaro Nārada Rubhurra Devalo Sitaha Apantaratma Vyaso Markandeyoth Gautamaha Vasishto Bhagwana Ramaha Kapilo Badarayanihi Durvasa Yagya Valkascha Jatu Karna Statharuniha Romascha Vano Datta Asurihi Sapatanjalihi Rishir Vedashira Dhaumyo Muniha Panchashikhasthatha Hiranyanaಭः Kaushalyah Shrutadeva Rutadhvajah Ete pare cha siddhe shascharanti jnana hetavah. O great souls, I have heard that among the great and perfect persons wandering the surface of the earth to instruct knowledge to people covered by ignorance are Sanat Kumar, Nārada, Ribhu, Aṅgirā, Devala, Asita, Apantaratma, Vyasdev, Markandeya, Gautam, Vasishtha, Bhagwan Parshuram, Kapila, Sukadev, Durvasa, Yajanvalkya, Jatukarna, and Aruni. Others are Romasa, Chavana, Dattatreya, Asuri, Patanjali, and the great sage Dhaumya, who is like the head of the Vedas, and the sage Panchashikha, Hiranyabha, Kaushalya, Shrutadeva, and Ritavaja. You must certainly be among them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what King Citraketu is saying, the two rishis, is that he knows that there are great persons who are wandering the surface of the earth, right? And those are the people, right? We know that Sanat Kumar and Nārada Muni and Aṅgirā Muni and Vasishtha Muni, Gautam Muni, right? So he's saying that you have to be one of them, right? So Citraketu recognizes in that sense. And again, let's read this nice purport Rinaji?
The word Gyan hai the word very significant because great personalities like those listed in these verses wander on the surface of the globe not to mislead the populace, but to distribute real knowledge. Without this knowledge, human life is wasted. The human form of life is meant for realization of one's relationship with Krishna or God. One who lacks this knowledge is categorized among the animals. The Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita 7.15, Na mam duskritno mudha prapadyante naradhama maya paharta jnana asuram bhavam asita. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. And the important part mentioned here is the human form of life is meant for realization of one's relationship with Krishna. Yeah. And as we have read before, that is the greatest achievement, right? That's the greatest achievement of the human life. Tarun?
Ignorance is the bodily conception of life. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatute se sa eka go karaha. Practically everyone throughout the universe, especially on this planet, Burloka, thinks that there is no separate existence of the body and soul and therefore no need of self-realization. But that is not a fact. Therefore, all the Brahmanas listed here, being devotees, travel all over the world to awaken Krishna consciousness in the hearts of such foolish materialistics. The acharyas mentioned in these verses are described in the Mahabharata. The word Panchasikha is also important. One who is liberated from the conceptions of Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya, and who is perfectly aware of the subtle coverings of the soul is called Panchashikha. According to the statements of the Mahabharata, Santiparva chapters 218-19, an acharya named Panchakashika took birth in the family of Maharaj Janaka, the ruler of Mithila. The Sankhya philosophers accept Panchashikacharya as one of them. Real knowledge pertains to a living entity dwelling within the body. Unfortunately, because of ignorance, the living entity identifies himself with the body and therefore feels pleasure and pain. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. तस्माद्युवां ग्राम्य पश ओ मर्ममूढ़ दियः प्रभु अंधे तमसी मगन्नस्य ज्ञान दीप उदीर्यताम्. Because you are great personalities, you can give me real knowledge. I am as foolish as a village animal, like a pig or dog, because I am merged in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, please ignite the torch of knowledge to save me. Right? That's what King Citraketu is praying to Aṅgirā Muni and Nārada Muni. Just read this much. Ajay?
It is said, Om Anjana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chashur Amilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurudev Namah. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eye with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. This gives the definition of Guru. Everyone is in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, everyone needs to be enlightened with transcendental knowledge. One who enlightens his disciple and saves him from rotting in the darkness of ignorance in the material world is a true Guru. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we all know this. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Who is the Guru? The Guru is the one who enlightens his disciple and saves him from rotting in the darkness of ignorance. Yeah. Chakshur Anmilitam Yena. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nisha?
श्री अङ्गिरा उवाच अहं ते पुत्रकामस्य पुत्रोदो अस्म्यङ्गिरा नृप एष ब्रह्मसुतः साक्षात् नारदो भगवान् ऋषिः. Aṅgirā said, "My dear king, when you desired to have a son, I approached you. Indeed, I am the same Aṅgirā Rishi who gave you this son. As for this Rishi, he is the great sage Nārada, the direct son of Lord Brahma." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So now Aṅgirā Muni is telling King Citraketu that he is the Aṅgirā Rishi. Yeah. And of course, the other Rishi is the Nārada Rishi. Yeah. Rinaji?
त्वां पुत्रशोकेन मग्नं तमसि दुस्तरे अतदहर्मनुस्मृत्य महापुरुषगोचरम् अनुग्रहाय भवतः प्राप्ता वावाहमिः प्रभो ब्रह्मण्यो भगवद्भक्तो नावासादेषु महर्षि. My dear king, you are an advanced devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be absorbed in lamentation for the loss of something material is unsuitable for a person like you. Therefore, we have both come to relieve you from this false lamentation, which is due to your being merged in the darkness of ignorance. For those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, to be affected by material loss and gain is not at all desirable. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yeah, I think for a devotee, an advanced self-realized soul, there is no cause for material jubilation or lamentation. He is always transcendental to conditional life. And that's the message Aṅgirā Muni is giving to King Citraketu. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Siksha Muni.
यदेवते परं ज्ञानं ददामि गृह्यमागतः ज्ञात्वा न्याभिनिवेशं ते पुत्रमेव ददाम्यहम्. When I first came to your home, I would have given you the supreme transcendental knowledge. But when I saw that your mind was absorbed in the material things, I gave you only a son, who cause you jubilation and lamentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Aṅgirā Muni is saying he could have given you knowledge earlier, but because he wanted a son, he gave him a son. Yeah. Yeah. Rinaji?
अधुना पुत्रिणां तापो भवतः वानुभूयते एवं दारागृहारायो विविधैश्वर्यसम्पदः शब्दादयस्य विषयाश्चला राज्यविभूतयः महिराज्यं बलं कोशो वृत्त्यामात्य सुहृजना सर्वे अपि शूरसेने में शोकमोहभयार्तिदा गन्धर्वनगरप्रख्याः स्वप्नमाया मनोरथा. My dear king, now you are actually experiencing the misery of a person who has sons and daughters. O king, owner of the state of Sursane, one's wife, his house, the opulence of his kingdom, and his various other opulences and objects of sense perception are all the same in that they are temporary. One's kingdom, military power, treasury, servants, ministers, friends, and relatives are all causes of fear, illusion, lamentation, and distress. They are like a Gandharva Nagar, a non-existent palace that one imagines to exist in the forest. Because they are impermanent, they are no better than illusions, dreams, and mental concoctions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. and a nice purport. So let's read this, Ajay.
This verse describes the entanglement of material existence. In material existence, the living entity possesses many things, the material body, children, wife, and so on. Deha patya kaladishu. One may think that these will give him protection, but that is impossible. In spite of these possessions, the spirit soul has to give up his present situation and accept another. The next situation may be unfavorable, but even if it is favorable, one must give it up and again accept another body. In this way, one's tribulation in material existence continues. A sane man should be perfectly aware that these things will never be able to give him happiness. One must be situated in his spiritual identity and eternally serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a devotee. Aṅgirā Rishi and Nārada Muni gave this instruction to Maharaja Citraketu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Nisha?
दृश्यमाना विनार्थेन न दृश्यन्ते मनोभवाः कर्मभिर्ध्यायतो नानाकर्माणि मनसो अभवन्. These visible objects like wife, children, property are like dreams and mental concussions. Actually, what we see has no permanent existence. It is sometimes seen and sometimes not. Only because of our past actions do we create such mental concussions, and because of these concussions we perform further activities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so it says karma vidharyatu, right? Everything based on the karmas, things are constantly moving, right? It's very nice purport. Read. Ayam hi dehino deho dravya jnana kriyatmakah dehino vivid klesha santap krudu dahata. The living entity in the bodily conception of life is absorbed in the body, which is a combination of the physical elements, the five senses for gathering knowledge, and the five senses of action, along with the mind. Through the mind, the living entity suffers three kinds of tribulations: Adhibhutika, Adhidevika, and Adhyatmika. Therefore, this body is a source of all miseries, is what is being mentioned. Again, a very nice purport, long. Read this, but just read the last one, Tarun.
One who is thus transcendentally situated at once, he realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, the Lord says, Mame vamso jiva loke jiva bhukta sanatanaha mana sasthanindriyani prakriti sthani karsati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entity is actually part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is unaffected by mineral conditions. But because the mind, mana, is affected, the senses are affected and the living entity struggles for existence within this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shiksha Prabhu?
तस्मात् स्वस्थेन मनसा इन्द्रिया गतिमात्मनः द्वैते ध्रुवार्थ विस्तंभं त्यज उपस्थाम मामा विषा. Therefore, O King Citraketu, carefully consider the position of the Atma. In other words, try to understand who you are, whether body, mind, and soul. Consider where you have come from, where you are going after giving up this body, and why you are under the control of material limitation. Try to understand your real position in this way, and then you will be able to give up your unnecessary attachment. You will able to also be able to give up the belief that the material world or anything not directly in touch with service of Krishna is eternal. Thus, you will obtain peace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ajay?
Sri Nārada Uvac Etam Mantropanishadam Pratīksha Prayetu Mam Yam Dharayan Saptaratrad Drishta Sangarshanam Vibhum. The great sage Nārada continued, My dear king, attentively receive from me a mantra which is most auspicious. After accepting it from me, in 7 nights you will be able to see the Lord face to face. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so Narad Muni is saying in 7 days, Saptaratra Drishta. What will happen? In Saptaratra Drishta Sankarshanam Vibhum. Sankarshan, yeah, Lord Sankarshan, Lord Vishnu's manifestation, you will be able to see him, right? Like Narad Muni also gave mantra to remember Dhruv Maharaj. What mantra was that?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, right? And then Dhruv Maharaj got the darshan of Lord Vishnu. Similarly, some mantra will be given to King Citraketu, is what Narad Muni is saying, and he will be able to get darshan of Lord Vishnu. Yeah. Nisha?
यत्पादमूलमुपसृत्य नरेन्द्रपूर्वे शर्वादयो भ्रममिमं द्वितयं विसृज्य सद्यस्तदीयं तुलानधिकं महित्वं प्रापुर्भवानपि परं न चिरादुपैति. My dear king, in former days, Lord Shiva and other demigods took shelter of the lotus feet of Shankarsan. Thus, they immediately got free from the illusion of duality and achieved unequaled and unsurpassed glories in spiritual life. You will very soon attain that very same position. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Narad Muni is saying that you will also be attaining a great spiritual position, is what is being mentioned. And thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purpose of the 6th canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Saints Nārada and Aṅgirā. Instruct King Citraketu. Bolo Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So very nice transcendental message to King Citraketu. Yeah. And we have been reading the story of Ritashur and now King Citraketu, and we'll see what happens next. Right? And we are going to hear a nice bhajan and then let's talk for a minute. And the next chapter, the next adhyaya is about King Citraketu meets the Supreme Lord. So how King Citraketu is going to do darshan of Lord Vishnu is what we are going to read in the next adhyaya. Yeah. Let's hear a nice bhajan, 5 minutes, and I will speak. Okay.
वृषभानो दुलारे राधे वृषभानु दुलारे वृषभानु दुलारे राधे वृषभानु दुलारे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे मोर मुकुटा मुख मुरले जोरे मोर मुकुटा मुख मुरले जोरे वेणे विराजे मुखे हसी थोरे थोरे वेणे विराजे मुखे हसी थोरे थोरे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे उनके सो है गलवाना माला उनके सो है गलवाना माला इनके मोते माला उजाला इनके मोते माला उजाला जय राधा गिरिवरधारे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे पीताम्बर जग जनमन मोहे पीताम्बर जग जनमन मोहे नील उड़ने वाने उनके सोहे नील उड़ने वाने उनके सोहे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे अरुण चरण मणे मंजीर बोए अरुण चरण मणे मंजीर बोए श्री कृष्ण दासे ताहि माना भाए श्री कृष्ण दासे ताहि माना भाए जय राधा गिरिवरधारे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे श्री नंदनंदन वृषभानु दुलारे श्री नंदनंदन वृषभानु दुलारे वृषभानु दुलारे राधे वृषभानु दुलारे वृषभानु दुलारे राधे वृषभानु दुलारे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे जय राधा गिरिवरधारे
All right, so nice bhajan. And so one thing also I wanted to talk about is the holiday times are coming. December, then January. So I was thinking that we can take a pause from next week till like mid-January, because I'll be traveling to India end of December up to mid-January. And then I know Ajay and Prem are also going to India this week. So, Nisha, what do you think? Are you here? Or
I'll be here.
yeah. तो ये सोच रहा था पोज ले लेते हैं. तरुण, what do you think?
I'm here next few weeks, but up to you, Gajen.
I think थोड़े लोग इंडिया जा रहे हैं नेक्स्ट वीक. फिर उसके नेक्स्ट वीक
हाँ,
मैं ट्रेवल कर रहा हूँ एंड देन गोइंग टू इंडिया आल्सो आफ्टर दैट.
That's fine. वैसे ही रेगुलर 5-6 लोग ही हैं, तो do whatever works for everybody.
हाँ.
That's fine. We can always use the time for something else. It's okay.
Yeah. Time is limited and yes.
No, we definitely don't want to
Yeah.
leave. If some people are traveling, तो उनको छोड़ के
Yeah.
आगे कहाँ जाएंगे?
I know. We are such a small group anyways.
Yeah.
Right? नहीं 6-7 लोग 8 लोग मिलते हैं. तो एक काम करते हैं फिर we'll take a pause. ठीक है ना? From next week up to January 15. I'll be back that week actually. उसके बाद में शुरू कर देंगे वापस से. ठीक है? तब तक we have all our recordings and all that. If you have missed something, and then of course there's so many other things to do. Then holiday time, have fun. And Rasik Shyam Prabhuji, will see you in Vrindavan. We'll see you first week of January. So I'll be in Vrindavan first week of Jan. So Rasik Shyam Prabhuji is also coming there. So we are going to meet. So that'll be nice.
Nice. Send us pictures.
Yes. Yeah, last time I went to Vrindavan, so Rasik Shyam Prabhuji had also come. So we did the Giriraj Parikrama. So I see this nice bhajan today, right? Jai Radha Girivardhari. So that Giriraji Parvat.
Very nice.
We'll send the pictures and it'll be nice. So everyone enjoy holidays, weekends, everything.
Yeah, have a good
Let's be in
trip.
touch. Yeah, thank you, Krishna. And Ajay, you have a good trip soon.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
Yeah, enjoy wherever you go. Think of us. If you're praying anywhere, pray for us too.
Yeah. Yeah, Ajay is enjoying the wedding, right? Where is the wedding, Ajay?
Wedding is in Gurgaon actually.
Oh,
So,
Nice.
near Delhi.
Indian weddings are great, no matter where they are.
Same mithai. 100 types of different sweets.
He's a runner anyway, so जितना भी खाओ भाग के
Yeah.
खत्म.
It's a mithai marathon for Ajay.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
Thank you.
ठीक है फिर तो we'll take a pause.
Yeah.
January में मिलते हैं वापस. तब तक everyone have a fun time. See you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.